Well, I'm back. Well, what have we got today? Oh my God. Go to somewhere. But here they are. Yeah, some locking tuners from GOTOH, as they say in the States. I think they do, don't they? Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, how am I doing with these? Why have I lashed out on these? Well, there is a very good reason. But just before that, I just want to tell you that this is coming up soon. Oh, what is it? Well, you might not see from there. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. Get rid of me. Yeah, you might see it. Yeah, you can probably see it from there. Well, it's one of those Mr. Scary George Lynch legendary tones. Yeah, it's a legendary tones mod. Yeah, I know you're down there. Don't worry. The thing is with this is all handmade. Let's go back out. You've seen enough of that. Get rid of this beautiful face on here. Yeah, this is coming up after this one, actually. And this is, handmade in America. I'm not going to tell you much more about it, but it can translate a tube amp, one of the oldest stuff, well, can do the newer ones too. It can translate it into something that's, well, reminiscent of a monster. Well, in fact, that's what George Lynch is, an absolute tone monster. More about that next time. Let's go back to these GOTOH made in Japan tuners. Yep, there she is. Now, a lot of guys have seen this particular guitar over the years. It's got a bit of a story behind it, like, well, most of my guitars have, really. And this one, it's one of them Tokai things, or Tokais, as some people call them. I call it Tokai, yeah. But it's not one of them run-of-the-mill ones that you spend £700 or £800 on today, just for the Oriental one. Well, I suppose you could call this Oriental, but it's not quite. It's Japanese Oriental. I suppose we could say that. Yeah, it gets it down at least to the area of the world where we'd like to have it represented from. Because these Tokai, they're pretty good guitars if you want the truth. I've talked a lot about it before, so I'm not going to harp on too much, but I'll give you a bit of a background and then we can move forward as to what I'm doing with these things and the rest. Yeah, well, if you look at it, you can see somewhere around there and there that it's got those active pickups in. And yeah, it's been a pretty good guitar, but I fitted the pickups and I fitted the battery in the back so you can charge it. And with this battery, I hate to say it, but it'll run for about 200 hours just on one charge. Charges off a USB cable and it's all good. So they do cost a little bit of money, but they're worth the effort and it does sound particularly nice. Well, as well as that, at the time I'd got some tuners off a Gibson Les Paul. You can see them on the end. You can tell they're the sort of Gibson type, but they're not quite the Gibson type. I don't think they're quite the same as off a real Les Paul. I'll call it that. Well, what are they? Well, these actually came off a Les Paul Studio and they're gold plated, just exactly what you'd think they'd look like. But I've always had trouble with this guitar, with getting out of tune. And if anybody watches my reviews and I play this, you'll notice it goes out of tune. And it goes out of tune really quickly. Yeah, sometimes in 20 seconds, a few light strums. And sometimes after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but usually pretty early on. And then I don't want to go back and redo it because it's in the middle of a review, which is a pity. And some people say, hey, you're out of tune. I know that, but that's life. So let's have a look at the tuners that are on it. They're almost like them Cluson type of things. You know them. They're on the back of every one of the old Gibson styles. But to be honest, they're not quite where they ought to be for me. I can't continue to play this guitar that it keeps getting out of tune all the time. It really becomes well, it becomes a chore. And it shouldn't be like that with guitar playing. It should be nice and smooth and rock and roll, so to speak. And you can see there they are, all 6 of them. And they're actually, say, on Gibson Deluxe, but as far as that goes, well, they might be Gibson Deluxe, but coming off a Les Paul Studio, I'm not entirely convinced they're the same as the real deals. It's just a personal opinion. They could be the same as off a Gibson Les Paul Custom, say, or whatever. But I don't think so. And you can see the guitar itself. There it is. It's called a ULS 85Q. And if you like this sort of, top, I mean, it doesn't get much more quilted maple than that, does it? And it is actually, it looks to me like a really carved top, yeah. Which, how can I complain with that when it's a made in Japan one? They're fetching £1,500 today for the new ones, and I don't think the new ones are anywhere near as good as this one. Yeah, so there it is. Well, how did I get this darn thing? Well, I went around one of those, I don't know if they have them in the States or anywhere else, but I know in the UK they have these sort of little guitar shows now and then. And this one was in a guitar show in a place called Crewe. It's well known for the major train station of the UK. Well, one of them. A lot of trains come in there and they go to somewhere else out of there. So that's what Crewe's famous for. But to me, it's famous for, it's famous for the guitar show. And about every 6 or 9 or 12 months, they have this show. And I would have gone there on this time, but sadly I was in America, I think. But there you go. And I'm walking around the show, and there it is, this guitar. It's hanging on it's on a stand a bit like this one, but sitting vertically, if you get me. And there's me and Alan Bruce. We walked around first time. You sort of go around a square. You've got stuff in the middle and stuff all around the edge. So we're walking round, and I see this straight away down at the bottom. And I have a look at it now, lifted it off and had a quick look at the back, just to make sure that it was a Japanese one, which the Japanese ones are absolutely made better than the Indonesian or Chinese or wherever the others come from. So, yeah, there it was, Japanese guitar. And it was on at, believe it or not, £400. That's a crazy figure. And I didn't buy it there and then. So I started walking round again a bit further, and I'm saying to Alan, that guitar's cheap. He obviously wants to get rid for some reason, but I can't see any reason why he'd want to sell it. But there it was, £400. And anyway, we get around the square again, and just as I'm coming down towards it, as this guy lifted it off and just put it back on the stand. Just put it on the stand like that. And then my hand came in from the side and went, "It's mine." I paid the £400. So that's the story of this guitar and how I bought it. But those tuners there, they've never been right. So let's go and have a look at the tuners that I'm going to fit. No, they're not exactly the same, and the holes might not line up, and who cares? Well, not me. Let's go look a bit closer. First of all at the tuners, and then let's get these off and see what mess I can make. Well, hey, don't ask me too much about these. I just bought them. I'm like that. Here they are. And that's the model that they are. An SG301-MG-T, finished gold, 1.18 gear ratio. Well, it's 1:18 gear ratio. And button 4. Button 4 is this type. The sort of, I don't know what you'd call it. But it reminds me of a Gibson one. So, this is how they come. Let's slither this out. See what we've got. Yeah, there they are. You get a good idea. And I know that really they've only got a one screw in place. Well, I hope that fits where the holes already are in the neck, and then that'll save a load of grief. But they are a locking type. Most people have seen this sort of thing. And being GOTOH, or GOTOH as they say, GOTOH Japan, it says there. Yeah, they should be quite nice. I'm not really worried too much about these, and tell you the truth, that's why I bought them, because I know that they're pretty good. Let's go and have a look at the stuff on the back of the neck and go from there. Well, there they are, really. yeah, there's not much you can say about them, is there? They're stuck on the back. They look really nice, but I don't think they're really quite the same, as I said before, as the real Gibson ones. And somehow these seem to be going out of tune far too much for my liking. So I'm going to screw one of these off and just let you have a look at how it goes together. Okay, well, when you're taking these off, you do have to undo these nuts on the top, and yeah, use the proper tool, won't you? You know, it really matters. Then we can just whiz them off. I've undone the screws on the back, and we can whip this off pretty quick. There it goes. I'll put them over there for later, and we can remove the thing from the back. Well, here it is. Yeah, there's the culprit. And these, what does it say on them? Does it say anything? It just says PW. Well, that doesn't really mean anything. And you know, I don't remember the original Gibson ones being quite as square as that, or as, they're just not the same. So there you go. That's ready to fit the new one in. So let's go take a look at that. Well, as you can see, as you take a look around here, this is going to sit on like this. It just about leaves that top hole where you can see it, but the bottom hole should just screw in, and we can put the nut on the other side, and away you go. So I'm going to go and fit that one, then we'll have a quick look. Well, there you go. As you can see, it's a pretty nice fit, that is that, and yeah, not much more you can say. It's fitted really well. It's got the top hole there, but I wouldn't really worry about that, because if ever you want to take them off, you can just take these off and put the originals back on. Remember them? Yeah. Well, they're not originals, I know, but you'll get the idea. Let's take a quick look at the other side. Now, you can see that these are lower down in the neck, which I don't mind that. These were actually pretty high. But, yeah, it's fitted perfect. There's no erroneous things going to go on there. And if I want to take them off, well, I can take them off. And don't they look really nice? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to go and fit the rest, and I'll be back. Now here's a quick shot of the front, and yeah, they do look quite nice, don't they? They look almost Gibson original. Well, I would say so. One or two things to talk about, and let me show you the back, and then we'll have a quick chat. So there's the quick look of the back, and I know you can see these little holes here. I don't think it really makes that much difference. Well, it doesn't to me, it might to you. But what does make a difference is that there's no modifications gone on the guitar, actually, to get those on there, and being locking tuners, they're going to make a hell of a difference. Anyway, let's go back around. Okay, well, just a few quick words about them, just before we go any further, because some people will think they're one thing and others will think they're another. These particular tuners aren't staggered, as in they're high at one end and low at the other. They just level all the way across, exactly the same heights. There's nothing different on any of them, in fact, except these three this side are the opposite of those three that side. Well, it takes no figuring, does it? Yeah, as far as they go, they're spot on, really. I'm going to fit the strings back, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, well, here we are round the back. I've got the strings back, and touch wood, it's in tune. Yeah, it's in tune. So, yeah, aim of the object is probably all good. I want to talk a little bit more about when you're fitting those things, for anybody that actually goes and does it, because they're actually not bad, and these weren't a bad price. I think, if I remember, this side of 100 quid, well, actually, this set, I think, was about, yeah, somewhere near there. You have to go and dig around on the internet, because there is a variance of prices, which actually does indicate that it's not price fixed in any way. Well, anyway, back to the fitting of them down there. You can see them. Yeah, picture on the screen. Well, when you actually fit them, if you screw the little screw in at the back, fit them in from the back, screw the screw in, not tight, but bordering on, just holding them in place, you'll find that the screws on the front, that screw in from the front, when you start to pull them tighter, before you finally tighten the little screws at the back, you find that they'll take the, how can I describe it? The tuner is something like that at an angle, and when you tighten them up it sort of pulls them flush, if you get me. Now when they flush, that's good. Let me explain why it's good, because on the back of that tuner is a little nib that sinks itself into the body and stops the tuner from moving around. Now you could argue that, well, it's got a screw on the back that stops that, but it doesn't, because when they screwed through the hole, when they fitted through that Gibson hole, there's a slight bit of play that could allow these to move. But when you tighten the screw up at the front, or the nut should I say, that actually clamps everything together very nicely. So I just wanted to cover that, because I don't know if anybody's ever showed you how to fit these, or even whether you know about them. That doesn't really matter. What does matter is you fit them right when you buy yours. And yeah, I can recommend these. They seem to work. Seem to. Well, I'll let you know in due course, because this one could get a lot of playing if only it stayed in tune. Let's hope it does. Very simple review anyway. I've got the old ones sitting down here. There they are. I'm still not sure they were really, you know, like the same as fitted to the Gibson Les Paul. They fitted to the Studio, and I think that's a difference. Anyway, there you go. Don't forget to subscribe, will you? I need some subscriptions. You'll get lots of ideas like this, and amp reviews and effects reviews and all sorts of things. So don't forget to subscribe. Do that thumbs up thing, because apparently that matters. And tick all. Now, whether you tick all or not is another story, but I don't do millions of emails and things. So, yeah, it's probably worthwhile. And also, don't forget to visit https TonyMcKenzie.com. No www or any of that rubbish. And it'll get you to the website where I've got lots of reviews that aren't on YouTube, although I've got hundreds on YouTube. There are some on there that are worth taking a look, definitely, and finding different bits of information out that you don't generally find on the net. Yeah, so that's worthwhile. And that's it for now. That was the quick, short review of the... yeah, these machine heads are part number SG301-MG-T. What they do fit, Gibson Les Pauls. I suppose the SG301 is a giveaway that they fit SGs too. Till next time, hope you've enjoyed it. Get out of here.